Oh hey, I didn't see you there. I'm Kendall Turner, your next President of the United States. Since you're here, why don't I tell you about a couple issues in today's society that I am utterly passionate about. To keep things short, I'll inform you of only 3 of the 5,000 issues that I plan to resolve during my term as your president. So let's jump right in. So what are your opinions on the Democratic presidential candidate, Kendall Turner?
Who?
IDK.
What are some issues you'd like to see resolved during her term?
I want something to be done about gun violence.
Retweet.
I hear you guys. Coincidentally, gun control is one of my top priorities in this campaign. One way I plan to decrease the amount of gun violence in America is by enacting laws to limit the media's coverage of mass shootings.
How would you do that?
Well, the media plays such a vital role in this battle against gun violence, such as allowing America to be instantly notified when a shooting occurs or when a new bill is introduced. However, there is a downfall to the media's role. Reports have recently surfaced showing evidence that the publicity mass shootings receive can actually inspire other mass shooters. To combat this, I propose that we restrict broadcast stations from releasing the name of the killer and the weapon they use. Many reporters such as Megyn Kelly and Anderson Cooper are already participating in this. Another idea to combat this would be to limit the amount of coverage on the murderer and focus primarily on the victims. This could help prevent anyone from desiring the publicity that is often given to murderers.
Is there anything regarding the purchase of guns you'd like to change?
Yes, lots of things. To begin, I'd like to create a law requiring a gun license upon purchase of a gun. This would ensure that any gun owner knows how to properly handle and secure their gun from children. This would help prevent many accidental shootings. A big issue regarding gun violence right now is the easy access to people who may have mental health diseases. Requiring them to go through a period of training may prevent much of the violence caused by people suffering with mental health because they are unlikely to follow up, and their disease or any violent behavior may be more noticeable after a few lessons. Also, I'd like to create stricter background checks with longer waiting periods. This would not only ensure the person purchasing the gun is not in immediate danger, it would also help prevent many suicides, the leading cause of death by guns in America.
How do you feel about the purchase of high-powered machine guns?
I feel as though the Second Amendment does not grant us the power to use these weapons built for the use of war. My plan is to bring back the federal assault weapons ban, which was effective in America until 2004. This ban was successful in reducing crime and getting military-style weapons off the street. Because of its success, it only makes sense to bring back this ban to ensure a safer community for our country. So what do you two have coming up in your schedules for Ms. Turner's campaign?
Well, tomorrow we have an exciting press conference regarding the war in Afghanistan. We expect to have a good turnout and are looking forward to getting our message out there.
We're recruiting volunteers because I'm currently the only one, and I'm a full-time student at Clown College. Please sign up at our website, www.kendallturnerisyourpres4life.sobieck.gov. I'm begging you, for the sake of my clown education, please.
Wow, what an amazing turnout. Thank you to all who were able to make it here today. Well, let's jump right into it. What are some questions from the audience about the war in Afghanistan?
What do you believe the United States should do in order to finalize the war in Afghanistan and bring troops home?
Good question, ma'am. I believe our country should alter the strategies of how they plan to navigate the war in the coming years. Keep our troops in the Middle East for protection purposes, and establish loose withdrawal deadlines of these troops in order to demonstrate to the Afghans that they will finish what was started 14 years prior.
How do you plan to re-strategize our efforts in the war?
American troops stationed in the Middle East have been attempting to construct a Western model of how the Afghan government should be organized. However, this proves difficult considering the Afghan people have not run their government in a similar fashion for centuries. I believe that if efforts are made to reorganize the United States strategies that include fighting in the wrong places, in the wrong ways, and with the wrong assumptions, then the number of deaths and casualties can reduce significantly.
Why do you believe we should keep troops in Afghanistan if by doing so it is costing our country money, time, and effort?
I believe that if the U.S. backs down from military responsibilities or reduces troop levels anytime soon, it will be much easier for groups hostile to the U.S., such as ISIS and Al-Qaeda, to plan attacks against America in return. Therefore, reducing troops in Afghanistan would signal to the world that the United States is no longer the global superpower that it once was, while also keeping Afghanistan unstable in the arms of terrorists while the country attempts to rebuild itself.
One last question. What is your thought on negotiations with the Taliban and loose withdrawal deadlines for troops stationed over in Afghanistan?
Taliban and other terrorist organizations are simply too divided to be negotiated with. Because of their oppressive ideology, pursuing negotiations with Taliban extremists, while the U.S. military does not have the upper hand throughout Afghanistan, could allow Taliban leaders to bargain unfairly, ultimately leading to a setback for the United States. Announcing specific dates of U.S. troop withdrawal increases the drive of terrorist organizations to continue with their fundamentalist ways, leaving many at-risk troops in combat zones. Setting strict deadlines for troop withdrawal from Afghanistan would be a cowardly move for the U.S., especially in regard to their motive for assisting the volatile country in the first place.
When she's not serving aces on the court, she's serving them on the campaign trail. Vote for Kendall Turner, a better America.
Here I am outside the local prison, an appropriate setting to address my third and final statement, capital punishment. Let's head inside this gruesome building. I believe that we should abolish the death penalty and instead have a sentence of life without parole, so that there is no chance of the prisoner getting out of jail. Capital punishment can be very expensive, inhumane, and most of the executions can become damaged. Does anyone have any general questions about capital punishment?
What are the expenses associated with capital punishment?
The cost of keeping a death row inmate costs 4 to 5 times more than a prisoner that is sentenced life without parole. California currently has the most death row inmates than any other state. They spend around $4 billion a year to maintain these prisoners. It is estimated that it costs $90,000 more per capital punishment prisoner. If California gave all of their death row prisoners life without parole sentences, it would save them, on average, $336 million. Not only is this price of housing expensive for a capital punishment case, but offending it can cost upwards of $500,000.
What is the most common method in states that allow it? Have there been problems in the past with this method?
Lethal injection is the primary method of all states because it should kill the inmate within 3 to 5 minutes. Although, over the past few years, lethal injection has become increasingly error-prone. Over the past 2 years, there have been multiple executions that have failed. Some have ranged from 15 minutes, which is 3 times longer than the usual 5 minutes it should take. There have also been extreme cases in which it took a prisoner 2 hours to finally be dead. Most officials that administer the medication to prisoners are poorly educated, and there is little to no doctor supervision.
Why should we abolish capital punishment?
My main problem with capital punishment is the fact that it is inhumane on all levels, not to mention how executions can become ruined and the expense of the entire process. I believe that being in jail with a sentence of life without parole is punishment enough. For execution cases that are not followed through properly, and when the inmate suffers for prolonged periods of time, it can be considered cruel and unusual punishment. One of the inmates that suffered was Dennis McGuire. After the lethal injection drugs entered his system, he was still coherent and able to communicate that he felt like his entire body was burning. He endured the pain for at least 45 minutes until he finally died after 2 hours.
Okay guys, we're running a little late to the rally we're having for Kendall today. I'm really excited. Hopefully there's a good turnout. See you there.